Okay, part 2 is the wrist motions in the anatomy. Supination. We just talked about supination. Think about just kind of rolling your wrist, flipping it over. So you have your hand on the table, back side up. You just flip it over so the palm side is up. That's supination. Function. We keep going back to function because really that is the whole gist of the thing. As an occupational therapist, you don't connect it to function. It's kind of useless. Just say you know what supination is and you know what all the muscles are. I mean, that's great, but if you can't connect it to what people actually do on a daily basis, it's not really going to be useful to you as an occupational therapist. So always trying to connect these motions, these muscles, to functional tasks. Keep doing that in your head, especially on the quiz and the exams. You're going to be asked to connect the motion, the muscles, to functional tasks. So here we have her holding a can of soup, holding a can of, it looks like soup. She's got a spoon. So she's got her hands supinated to a degree. They're kind of halfway, and she's hanging on to the cup of soup with two hands. Here, this guy is a dealer. So let's say he's in Las Vegas and he's a blackjack dealer. As he flips the cards over from the deck, you visualize doing that. You can just do that with your hands right now. He's flipping it over from pronation to supination. He's supinating every time he deals one of those cards face up. So as that Queen of Hearts comes from here, flipping it over to there, he's taking it and he's supinating. This lists the muscle. Supinator is the big muscle there along with the bicep brachii. And then the nerve is just FYI for you, for this class. Here's the supinator, which is the big prime mover, along with the biceps brachii. Here is the supinator. We'll find that on each other. But again, how can you find that? Just resist supination. As you do it, hold your wrist back like isometric. I can feel mine kicking in and working as I do that. Pronation, just coming the other way. So you're not coming palm side up, you're going back side of the hand down. Think of this picture for the Red Sox. Right here, he's pronating as he fully extends his wrist to finish off throwing the baseball. He is pronating. She is pronating as she brushes her hair. She brushes her bangs. Visualize her coming down towards her nose. She's pronating with that wrist. Again, connect these motions to function. Really got to think about that. It's not usually, sometimes it's not clear. It's a combination of motions, but that's primarily pronation there, pronation there. The teres and the quadratus, as we'll see, are the big movers for pronation. There's the teres, the quadratus is like quadrangle. It's like it's shaped like a box, a square kind of thing. And when you find that on your cadavers, a lot of people don't forget it because it's kind of a neat little square. That is the pronator quadratus, and the teres is further up on the proximal forearm. There's wrist flexion, a wrist extension. Let's break it down to the functional task. So wrist extension. As she comes back to hit that tennis ball, not when she pushes forward, when she comes back, she goes into wrist extension. This is probably not the greatest picture, but she comes back into wrist extension, and then she comes into wrist flexion as she hits it. A great example of wrist extension is when you're typing. As you're typing right now, your hands are on your laptop, your wrists are in extension. Those wrist extensions get sore very, very commonly. And something that happens a lot with playing tennis and other activities where you have forceful wrist extension is you get something called tennis elbow or lateral epicondylitis. It's something you'll be talking about more as you progress through the program. And here's the big primary wrist extensors. Extensor carpi ulnaris, extensor digitorum, digiti minimi, extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor carpi radialis longus. Again, when you're figuring out, okay, which ones do I need to know a wrist extension for the quiz, the anatomy quiz? Again, go to the list on Canvas. It will tell you a definitive list because you're going to get all different kinds of combinations and different books and different graphics, the list is the definitive thing. Wrist flexors. She's flexing her wrist as she hits that golf ball. This person is flexing their wrist as they come down. Visualize them coming down with a slot machine. I don't know if they have slots like that anymore. I'm guessing it's mostly just digital, just hitting buttons. Flexicarponalis, flexicarporadialis, and something you can get with excessive wrist flexion, heavy wrist flexion. I had a guy in the old days who had these slots like this. He got this golfer's elbow, which is basically just irritated wrist flexors from wrist flexion, from playing the slots all day. So excessive wrist flexion can lead to golfer's elbow. Excessive wrist extension can lead to tennis elbow. There's all those wrist flexor again, the radialis, carpi ulnaris, big long muscles attached to the medial epicondyle, going way up onto the carpals and the metacarpals. There's another big flexor, carpi ulnaris, again attaching, like we talked about before, on the medial epicondyle all the way up. When somebody has golfer elbow, or it attaches usually down here in the epicondyles where it's sore, and it's the opposite for tennis elbow. Deviation, ulnar and radial deviation, and all the muscles for that. I don't think you need to know that one for the list, but again, look at the list to make sure about that one.